last, I'm doing part 2 of my overrated Doctor Who stories list. About time, and boy do I have some controversial decisions in this one. Before we start, please remember that these are all just my opinions. Thank you. Alright, so 99% of the fanbase is going to want to witch hunt me to death after this one. Now, I was 9 at the time of Vincent and the Doctor's original broadcast, and well, me being 9 years old, I found it boring as hell with the monster being invisible and barely even a part of the episode. That, and I was about one art lesson away from not even knowing who Vincent van Gogh even was, let alone the events surrounding his life that the episode tries to explore. So there was basically nothing to appeal to 9-year-old Jake in this episode at all. Given how infrequently I rewatch the modern series, especially the Matt Smith era, which is weird because it's basically the era that I grew up with, I barely remember anything about this episode at all. I think I've actually only seen it about 2 or 3 times at the most since it came out in 2010. I just never got the appeal of this one, and I don't plan on going back to it anytime soon unless I do a full Series 5 rewatch. As for it being overrated, well, it seems like somebody posts the ending scene with Vincent in the art gallery to the Doctor Who subreddit about 3 times every week, which gets hell of annoying after the 97th time of the month. And generally I just see so many people giving it high praise, which I'm afraid I just fail to see the justification for. Maybe it's because I don't remember a single thing about the episode. Maybe it's because I don't care about Vincent van Gogh and know nothing about him. Maybe I'm an idiot and everyone who sees this video will do their utmost best to make sure I end up with a life sentence in Stormcage prison or something, I don't know. But yeah, I'm saying Vincent and the Doctor is overrated, and I'm gonna move on before people start hating me. Here's another one that I see get a lot of praise, which I can't understand. Mummy on the Orient Express is another episode which, strangely enough, I can't remember anything about. Again, I was only 13 when this came out, and I've barely rewatched it since, but I just found it to be kind of average. And to be honest, other episodes in Series 8 like Listen or Flatline are so much more interesting to me. You know, I should probably just rewatch Vincent and the Doctor and Mummy on the Orient Express again, and perhaps I'll change my mind. Maybe the reason why I think it's overrated is just because I don't remember it very well. I did a little bit of reading up on this on the wiki, and apparently the main villain is Gus. Who the fuck is Gus, and why can't I remember him? Apparently he's a computer on the space train who's behind the whole thing. And there's me thinking it was just a weird mummy monster thing killing people. Anyway, this one just never really appealed to me either. At best it came out average to just good for me. Sorry if I'm offending anyone with my Doctor Who opinions. Okay, finally I'm putting another classic story on here with the very first episode in colour, Spearhead from Space. Now this is the episode that I put as my least favourite Season 7 story in one of my previous videos. Although, as Season 7 is made up entirely of good to amazing stories, that still makes it better than a lot of other ones. My main reason for saying that I don't like it as much as most people do is, and this isn't something that I often say about Doctor Who, I find it dull. It's a bit boring, and although it's the first story of the 1970s, it still feels like a product of the 60s. I know it was made in 1969 and then broadcast in 1970, but whatever. I'm assuming I've got those facts right. As far as Auton stories go, I much prefer Terror of the Autons from the following season, plus that one has the Master. Spearhead just seems like such an underwhelming debut for what would go on to be a legendary incarnation of the Doctor. I like some moments in it for sure, like the Part 2 cliffhanger where that Auton just steps down from that platform behind the guy and prepares to shoot him. And the scene where the Doctor and Liz defeat the Nestine Consciousness is pretty good. Double points for seeing John Pertwee with rubber tentacles in his mouth. I don't want to come across like I hate this story, but I will admit that being one of the very first classic serials that I ever saw in full, it did actually slightly put me off of Classic Who for a short while. I like it more now than what I did originally, but people who love this one, I'm sorry, but it's just a bit too dull for me to really hold it in as high as regard as the majority of people seem to do. Okay, so that was quite possibly the most unpopular opinion-filled video I've ever made thus far. If you like hearing me say which Doctor Who episodes I thought were overrated for a second time, then leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. The next video will be something Doctor Who related, obviously, but hell if I know exactly what it's going to be. Well, see you in the next one. Cheers!